understand. I gotta be careful with this.
I was outraged. I was it was
Viewers
incomprehensible to
beware.
me. It was unconscionable.
Oh, look around for
And
TOS.
I felt that I needed to do something and do something quickly.
Okay, there's an image
I don't think
here.
I've witnessed anything of that nature in my entire career.
We're gonna skip around the image of him like bloodied and stuff.
That is Memphis Police Chief Saralyn C.J. Davis explaining what we'll see in the arrest footage of Tyre Nichols, which is set to release sometime right about now, this evening. Davis claims that the footage shows an event as bad, if not worse, than the beating of Rodney King. Content warning, the image you're about to see is very graphic. Viewer discretion.
Oh man, let's skip past that. Oh shit, they beat him up.
Cause was, and we have not been able to substantiate that.
They
Doesn't mean
fucking
something
yeah,
didn't happen,
they messed the
but there
dude
is
up.
no proof, according to the police chief. It seems the policemen were looking for a fight when they pulled Tyre over that evening. From the beginning of the encounter, the chief said, the officers involved were riled up. Quote,
Wow.
The escalation was already at a high level, Davis said. The nature of the traffic stop was very aggressive with loud communication and escalated from there, she told CNN. And here's what happened next. Take a look at some more video.
Yeah, you know the police union isn't gonna defend this shit.
The nature of the stop.
You know the
very
police union.
aggressive.
The police union is not gonna fucking defend this shit. The police union is so fucking corrupt. They know the officers are black, first of all. So that's already a strike against the officers. If they were white officers, that this might have not happened this way. If the beating wasn't as brutal, it might also not have happened this way.
Loud, communication. And it just rose from there. It escalated from there. Mr. Nichols was able to get away from these officers, and they found him again at another location. And at that point, there was an amount of aggression that is unexplainable.
Chief Davis went on to say in the video that you can hear Tyre call out for his mom.
Oh my God.
Ben Crump, an attorney for the Nichols family, said
Jesus
Nichols was
Christ.
tased, pepper sprayed, and restrained during the encounter. Another of the family's attorneys, Antonio Romanucci, said police beat Nichols for 3 full minutes. He was a human piñata for those police officers, Romanucci said, adding at one point that the video showed an unadulterated, unabashed, non-stop beating. When he said this, he was standing next to Tyre's mother, who openly wept at hearing that description of the brutal beating of her son.
Dude, it's crazy that, like no matter if a cop is white or black, they're cops. Cops are on the cop team. You're either blue or you're brass. You're either civilian or you're part of the team, okay? And the very fact that shit happens is just so fucking like heartbreaking, man. Like, rest in peace, Tyre.
After the police finished beating Tyre, they failed to immediately request medical assistance as well.
And imagine being tased, pepper sprayed, and beaten the hell up, all within the same time span. You know what I mean? Like, you can't breathe, you're being tased, so you're being shocked and shit, you're cramping up, and you're being beat up. You're gonna die. Like, you can't, there's no way you're gonna survive that, bro.
There was an elapsed period of time before getting medical help for Nichols after he was injured during the traffic stop by Memphis police officers, Mulroy said. After some period of time of waiting around afterward, he was taken away by an ambulance. Tyre's stepfather, who has seen the police officer's body cam footage, said this: the most telling thing about the video to me was the fact that it was maybe 10 officers on the scene and nobody tried to stop it, or even after they beat him and they propped him up against the car, no one rendered aid to him whatsoever. They walked around smoking cigarettes like it was all calm and like, bragging about what happened. He was sitting there and then he slumped over and an officer walked over to him and said, sit back up, while he's handcuffed. So he had to, they prop him back up. and he slumped over again, and they prop him back up again, but no one was rendering aid.
Wow.
I saw some fire department people come out, and they just walked around, and nobody showed him any aid, and they're supposed to be trained in first aid. By the time the paramedic truck pulled up,
This is so
that's when we
fucked up.
couldn't see anything because the paramedic truck blocked the camera. 3 days later, Tyre died of excessive bleeding. An autopsy has yet to be released. Last week, all 5 of the officers were fired and discharged. The only bit of justice so far we've had here. Very swift action to fire and charge these officers. Martin III, Smith, Bean,
Wow.
Haley, and Mills Jr. have each been charged with second-degree murder, aggravated assault, 2 charges of aggravated kidnapping, 2 charges of official misconduct, and 1 charge of
fuck is
official
Haley?
oppression, according to both Shelby County Criminal Court and Shelby County Jail records. Additionally, 2 Memphis Fire Department employees who gave Tyre initial care have been fired. Tyre leaves behind a 4-year-old son. The details of this are so tragic, so gruesome, so sad. Cenk, I would love to hear your comments.
Yeah, so another heartbreaking detail. His mom, while at the press conference, was explaining they found out. So there's 2 incidents. One, they start beating him, apparently gets away from them, runs away, understandably so. They catch him again, and then that's when they beat him to death. And at that point, he was apparently just steps away from his house. And the last 3 things he said were all crying out for his mom. And she said when she found that out, she just couldn't bear it. She's
Wow.
Like, my job's to help him. And he was right there, and I didn't hear it.
Wow.
So, what makes these 5 guys beat a man to death like that?
Was fucked up, bro.
Look, credit to the police chief, took immediate action, fired, arrested, etc. So that's the most important.
It's in the police culture. It's in policing. Policing itself, it's fucked up.
It was against training. Was it? Because there was 10 other officers that were just sitting around. Nobody thought it was unusual. It wasn't 1 officer that beat him. It was 5 officers that beat him. None of them thought it was unusual. Why don't they think it's unusual? Why doesn't any other profession act with this kind of wanton cruelty on a regular basis? Because we teach them to be cruel.
Yeah.
They think it's perfectly normal.
True.
And does class and race matter? Come
No,
on, guys.
it does not.
Look, let's just talk about class for a second.
Class matters a little bit more than race.
Is there any chance those cops would have beat up
it matters way more.
a rich man in a rich part of town like that?
They would not. They would not. They would not.
I mean, the only people right now, black, white, it doesn't matter. Okay,
They
the
would
only
not.
people saying, "Oh, they would have done the same to somebody like that in a rich part of town."
No, they wouldn't.
Or rich people, because they don't know.
They don't
They
know
think
that.
cops treat everybody
That's fucking
with
lying.
kid gloves and treat them with respect and etc. And the cops are there to serve them. No, that's mainly for rich folks. There's no way they would have done
Cops
this
are
to a
there
rich
to
person.
defend property.
No way.
If you're rich, we own a company,
And
you're
everyone
good.
outside of the top 1% knows that.
You're good.
Okay, now on to race. Look, Jackson, I'll ask you about it. I hear oftentimes, and we've covered it on the show as part of news stories, that it's the 5 cops who did it are all black, but that there's like a culture of, oh yeah, I'm gonna be even more vicious to black people to show how much I belong, etc. So,
Wow.
tell me what your take on it is.
Well, in regards to that, that can be a thing, but it's a lot. Whether it's a police officer who's white or black, if you are of the mindset that it's your turn, to be the big guy, then you tend to take it out on people you're most familiar with. So like, among the black community, police aren't typically practically they're not popular. So if you're a black police officer, oftentimes that would put you in a psychological position where like my own people don't like me. So in regards to that, that's why it would play into it. But what's clear about this attack is this goes far beyond anything about, like someone getting pulled over and shot or police just shooting a man. They beat this man to death savagely.
They beat him to death, bro.
There was nothing but intention and sadism in this attack. And like you pointed out, if they knew that he was rich, even if he was black, they wouldn't have necessarily beat him up like that, because wealthy people can win court cases. You know, look at the disparities when people get caught, pulled over with little bags of cocaine. Actually, a friend of mine in St. Louis recently went through this, got pulled over with a little bag of cocaine. He's out now, but they tried to say, oh, there's fentanyl in it, and they was gonna hold him and charge him. But if he had money, they wouldn't have never held him in the first place at all. But this is just authority protecting his position of power. And police officers who do stuff like this, anything similar to this, they do it because they want to, because they absolutely don't need to do this.
Yeah.
They wanted to do it, so they did it. And like
True.
you said, there's a culture of it. All the other police officers standing around didn't do anything to stop it. So, I mean, this is disgusting all the way through.
I just can't even understand these days how, even though this level of evil, this level of malice exists in people in a time before cell phone cameras, but we've now been decades with cell phone cameras. We've been decades with the ability for these things to be exposed. I don't even understand why people do it knowing that they're going to be caught. They have body cameras on them that are recording.
They don't care,
this.
man.
Ben, I know why. Because police departments across the country
They protect them.
usually bury the evidence.
Yep.
Unless it somehow leaks to the press and people get mad about it.
Yep. Yep.
I guarantee you that, you know, I don't know what the number is. If, you know, I'm not going to pretend I know it, but it appears that an overwhelming majority of the cases,
black people,
when they have like, you know, a case of police abusing people, they brush it under the rug.
Yep.
I mean, why else would people think, oh yeah, I could beat a man to death? The five of us getting up on him when we have guns and we have all these things. He has nothing. He didn't even do anything wrong. We'd all do it because they thought that it was normal. They thought they were going to get away with it. Why? People aren't that irrational. The reason is because they almost always get away with it. I guarantee they were stunned to find out that they were going to get punished.
But that's for them sweeping it under the rug within a department. But people shoot these things on their own cell phones. Civilians do, and can release it and upload it. And so it doesn't stay within the purview of a police department. That's where I don't get it still. It's like blind rage takes over.
Yeah, I mean, that, you know, again, like if you beat someone like that, you're obviously filled with rage and anger and rather enjoy it, you know, like if you're caught up in the moment like that. But like Shank pointed out, I mean, what are the consequences?
Yeah.
You know, they may get a lot of hatred from the public, but within, you know, the Thin Blue Line group, they're very popular. So they can just stick to that crowd, you know, or people like the Andrew Tates, you know what I'm saying? Like the normies would look at him and be like, oh, he's so ridiculous. But there's always, because of the internet, it allows us to congregate together. So they just put all their attention on the people who support them. And there's a lot of people who support this type of violence from the police. You know, no consequences.
Yeah, there's no way that they do that if they didn't think that it was within the range of normal. The three of us and two other guys would never find a random guy and beat the living crap out of him and thinking there might even be cameras around, etc. No one would do that unless they thought, oh yeah, of course I'm going to get away with it. Like they didn't know he was going to die, but look, you're telling me those guys never beat someone before when they weren't supposed to?
Yeah,
I bet you they did it 200 times.
I bet they've done it a million.
This just happened to be the last one where they got caught.
A million times.
So, and it's not just them. Look, guys, not all cops are bad, of course, right? And not every black cop's trying to prove to the white cops that they belong and all those different psychological things. No, there's plenty of good cops, of course. But as a general thing, are they taught who gives a damn about the citizens?
Yeah.
Just beat the crap out of them and make sure that they never disrespect you. They make it seem like, oh, you disrespected me, so I get to break your neck, and his neck was broken.
Oh my
and I get
God.
to, you know, do all these horrific things to you.
His
no,
neck
disrespecting someone
broken.
does not mean that five guys get to beat the other guy to death. That's just insanity. But the next time you see a Thin Blue Line flag, which I see all over the place, understand those are the guys going, attaboy.
Yep.
Well, in a little bit of breaking news, the video has just been released, and so let's pray for justice in this case, and let's also pray for peace in Memphis tonight, because understandably people will be very, very upset.
Royally pissed. Oh, got it.
Damn, I didn't do anything.
Oh shit, bro, that's fucked up. So he runs away. The cops are so fucking stupid. The cops literally pepper sprayed each other. Like dumb fucking idiots. Oh, so they're beating him up. Shit, bro. I actually need to watch that off camera when I'm done here. But that was Tyre Nichols, man. Rest in peace, my dude.